Hi, this is Lola's Stoner Sessions. I did not get high yet today on weed, but I was going to read the book Principles of Microeconomics. I guess I'll read the first chapter and the introduction. The contents. Introduction, Part 1. Chapter 1, 10 Principles of Economics. Chapter 2, Thinking Like an Economist. Appendix, graphing a brief review, and Chapter 3, Interdependence and the Gains from Trade. So, quote from Frank H. Knight, economist, risk, uncertainty, and profit. Par dot 3 dot 7.15. Knowledge is more a matter of learning than the exercise of absolute judgment. Learning requires time, and in time, the situation dealt with as well as the learner undergoes change. So, preface. Here we have. So, economics is a way of thinking. It provides a toolkit for solving problems and making decisions. You may be tempted to learn economics by simply listening to lectures or relying on common sense. Do not be fooled. Economics cannot be learned by osmosis. Learning requires an active participation by the student. This means solving problems and answering questions, then looking at the reasons behind both the correct and the incorrect answers. So this study guide was written to accompany the 6th edition, Canadian edition of Principles of Microeconomics by N. Gregory Mankiw, Ronald D. Kneebone, and Kenneth J. Mackenzie. It was written with only one audience in mind, you, the student. So it is intended to complement the material provided in the text and your instructor's lectures, thereby helping you to be successful in this course. Objectives of the study guide. There are 3 broad objectives to the study guide. First, it reinforces the text and improves your understanding of the material presented in the text. Second, it provides you with experience in using economic theories and tools to solve actual economic problems. Learning by doing. Third, the questions and problems allow you to validate areas of successful learning and to highlight areas needing additional study. So that's the objectives of the study guide. The next we have an organization of the study guide. Each chapter in the study guide corresponds to a chapter in the 6th edition, Canadian edition of the Principles of Microeconomics text. Each study guide chapter includes the following sections. Chapter overview of Chapter 1. This section begins with a description of the purpose of the chapter and of how the chapter fits into the overall framework of the text. The overview also includes helpful hints to guide the student's intuition in understanding the material. Chapter 2, Self-Testing Challenges. This section begins with true-false questions and multiple-choice questions. These questions provide useful feedback in preparing for an exam, particularly if the student analyzes the right and wrong answers. Next, there are short answer questions and practice problems, which provide applications and important extensions of the material in a text. The practice problems are generally multiple-step problems, while each answer question is generally based on a single topic in the text. This section ends with an advanced critical thinking problem, which applies the economic reasoning and tools developed in the chapter to real-world problems. Chapter 3 would be solutions. This section provides answers to all the questions and problems in the study guide. Explanations are provided for the false responses to the true-false questions. And the use of the study guide. So, So a study guide is not a substitute for a text. Use the study guide in conjunction with the principles of microeconomics text, not in place of it. How one best uses a study guide is largely a personal matter. Most students will prefer to read through the entire chapter in a text and then work through the study guide, identifying the areas which need further study and the areas which are already mastered. Yeah. So, multiple choice questions tend to be the most commonly used type of exam questions. Yet students often encounter difficulties with this type of question because they find that many of the choices differ only slightly. Thus, students should develop and practice strategies for doing multiple choice questions. The following are some helpful strategies. Yeah, that's what I noticed about exams as well. And I usually get like 98 on my exams, on on my SATs and all that. I get really good marks from what I remember. But multiple choice was always my favorite because, like it says here, they often because the choices differ slightly with each question, and I have a photogenic memory, so multiple choice questions were always my favorite. So thus, students should develop and practice strategies for doing multiple choice questions. The following are some helpful strategies. Read each question and all the choices very carefully. Often, only one word is the difference between two of the choices. Eliminate any obvious wrong choices. Mark up the page with notes, arrows, and diagrams. Remember that the correct answer may not be immediately evident. Most questions will require you to analyze numerical and graphical information. And personally, I was a geek in math. Math was my favorite subject. So, other than that, well, second to that was science, and then English, because English you write a lot. So science was my second best. Acknowledgements. We would like to thank Gregory Mankiw for having written such an innovative and lively text, and the Canadian authors for carefully adapting Mankiw's ideas to fit the Canadian experience. Thanks also to David Hakes, who wrote the Principles of Microeconomics Study Guide for the U.S. market. His excellent work made production the Canadian edition a truly enjoyable task. We also thank Executive Editor Amy Plorde, Consulting Editor Rod Bannister, and Developmental Editor Catherine Goods for their support throughout the process. See, so in English, through and throughout the process, see, two completely different things. They slightly differ in each, but you have to make sure you say the correct word, or it could come out a completely different answer or objective to the question being asked. So in particular, we would like to thank Ross Meacher, CA, the accuracy checker for Nelson Education, without whose sharp eyes and subject awareness are our own errors, and those unintentionally carried forward in previous editions would not have been corrected. Professor Manucheri also extends a special thanks to Judith, to whom he is indebted for her excellent comments and suggestions. And lastly, we would particularly like to thank his sons, Agadir. There we go, I got it. And Namdar, for their unwavering love and support. Finally, we thank all the students who have taken our courses over the years, for it is they who, by their questions, comments, and even frustrations, have enhanced our understanding of economics. Final thoughts. Economics can be a tremendously exciting and enjoyable field of study, but it can also be intimidating. We hope that this study guide will improve your understanding of economics so that you are able to enjoy the subject as much as we do. Shahram Menucheri, Peter Fortura. So, with that, I'm gonna do these questions, and then I will come back and make a new video, and I'll get them marked to see if they're right, which ones are right and which ones are correct, and then we'll go through them as to how I got them wrong and why I got them correct, and why they're wrong and why they're correct. Just so that we have a little bit more of an understanding, and so that I'm not picking favorites and saying, oh, doing it the easy way and making you guys do the work, and then and then writing down the answers. I like to do my work on my own, and then I like to have an overview with groups and conversations. It's a great conversation starter, and but right now I am in a garden and it's really beautiful, so that's the background. I'm sitting right in front of a bird feeders. So I'm gonna go back to the van and hope you guys have a great, wonderful day. Bye.